MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like Text Expander. Find out about all their great utilities at smilesoftware.com. MacVoices is in Chicago for Macstock. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, finished with his presentations for the day, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, it's good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Chuck.
He's also been driving me around, acting as a partial chauffeur, and which I deeply appreciate.
It's my pleasure.
So, I've heard nothing but good comments about your sessions. Everybody's saying, gee, I didn't know it could do that, or I never thought about that. So, good job.
Yeah, I never thought. I even had Mike Schmitz come up to me and say, I didn't even know that either. And that's very touching to think that even folks I would think know all this stuff, that they came up to me and told me that stuff. But yeah, I mean, the Apple Watch is just an amazing device, and I said it in the presentation. A lot of people don't focus on it, and you go look on the internet all the time. There never is any a lot of videos or anything like that as far as talking about the Apple Watch as much as I did. So and then when I did it within the 20-minute presentation today, I got people to learn something real quick. And then when I did the deep dive later in the day today, more stuff that people were learning, and then I just didn't realize that the Apple Watch can really do for you for being productive. That's what the theme was.
And thinking about it as a productivity tool is a bit different, because Apple has spun it a bit more on the health side. But for me, something as simple as just receiving my texts on my watch, that helps me immensely right there. And you were showing some things about email and different ways, different complications you can put on your face so that it's applicable. And I loved it. I've got to go back now and sort of rethink some things.
Yeah, and then that's the thing that people don't realize what the Apple Watch can really do, just to keep things simple. I mean, you don't have to pull your phone out to do what you need to do: mail, messages, calendar. Very simple core items that I covered today that you don't realize that what you really can do and be able to navigate through the Apple Watch. During the deep dive, I jumped into a couple apps that you could also use that makes you productive. One of them of note is 1Password. And 1Password was great because you can add any random passwords that you normally use. It's on your Apple Watch because it's secure. When you unlock it, you'll be able to get to it, and there's another way of being productive.
Well, and again, Apple Pay, too, is something we both know. I just bought an iced tea from a vending machine using Apple Pay, so no wallet, no nothing. Yeah, it's you sometimes you just have to stop and think and sort of be reminded that, yes, we have these capabilities, now we just have to learn to use them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I got, like I said, we got a lot of great feedback from everybody that they were just amazed at what the Apple Watch can really do. And then they don't think about it, because when we put this watch on our wrists, we think the first thing you think about is health and fitness, which is great. I think that's one of the best things that the Apple Watch does for our tools, and I said that during the presentation today. I use it for health and fitness, tracking my steps and walking and all that stuff. But people don't realize how practical it can be using simple things like mail, things like that. So,
I also think that there's this tendency to play with something when it's new, it's bright, it's shiny, and then you kind of forget. And just, I believe it was Mike Schmitz that was showing the complication for drafts that he puts on his watch. And it's like, okay, I admit, I didn't know that there was a drafts complication, so that's another thing I got to go back and look. Yeah. So that's what you love about coming here, is people have explored, something works for them, they want to share it, and then now it'll work for you.
Yeah, and there's so many other apps that I don't personally use, like Fantastical for calendars. I mean, the calendar app on the iPhone, on the Apple Watch, is not the greatest. And let's face it, of the three that I went over, that was the least of my favorite that you could really get any productive use out of it. The mail and the messages was very, very productive. I didn't even bring up the phone part of it. The phone part of it on the watch is really a great tool too. And when someone brought it up during the deep dive, I said, yeah, I answer the calls all the time. Obviously, the drawback to it is it's going to be out in the public. You can't really have a private conversation, but there's a quick way you got to answer a phone call. It works great.
Sure, and you can do it without having to have cellular service on the watch.
That is correct.
Which is a huge thing, a bit of a pet peeve of mine, because it bugs me that I would have to add the watch for an additional charge to my cellular service when it really is just another device. But that said, it's still super handy if you've put your phone down somewhere, or you just can't get it out of your pocket in time, or whatever. It's an easy way to do it, and it sounds pretty darn good.
It does. And then another thing that just come to mind is I use it all the time. Is sometimes I can't find my phone, and very easy to swipe down, tap it, and it gives you a quick beep, as opposed to having to go to find my iPhone and give you the stealth sound. It gives you an option to be able to find if you need to find your phone too. So I mean, there's a lot of that's one of many things that the watch can do. But I'm glad people were able to get something out of it as far as being productive and using the Apple Watch.
Well, sometimes you just have to take it, a few at a time. Okay,
Yeah.
did you know it can do these things, these five, these 10 things? And if the answer is yes, great, then you're doing good. And if not, well, then now you know. So
yeah, and I did spend a little bit on spend a little time on the Files app and also the Notes app for iPhone and iPad because those are productive tools as well. And had some good interactions as far as those two apps. The Files app is just I'm so thrilled how what Apple did with the Files app. It makes things very efficient to finding things, easy to organize, and have access to all your different cloud-based systems like Dropbox and Dropbox and all those. I went over that, and then the Notes app. I think it's just they've just come amazing strides being able to, with the Apple Pencil, be able to write something, be able to put text in there, be able to insert a photo. Very, very powerful what they've done with Notes.
we could go on and on, but we're both getting ready to go in and see Love Notes to Newton. So where can folks find you when you're not here talking at Macstock?
Well, I have the In Touch with iOS podcast that I do with Melissa Davis. My Twitter handle, DaveG65. And I do also, I'll mention that my horse racing podcast too. It's Off the Charts, horseracing.com. That's a side project, but we have a lot of fun. It's a podcast, so this is a relatively popular time of year. In fact, I met somebody here today that is from Saratoga Springs, New York, and then the Saratoga racetrack is running right now. So I said, oh, yeah, we're going to do that. So it's we're talking about the track. And he says, oh, my grandson's over there now. And so it's a lot of fun. And not only just the technology, but everything across when it comes to podcasting. It's a lot of fun. So, but I appreciate it, Chuck.
Yeah, it's interesting you would say that because I've run into two people here that are plotting podcasts or something else. And I've said, look, when you get it up and running and you're comfortable that you're going to keep doing it, come and see us because
Absolutely.
I'd love to tell people about it. It doesn't just have to all be tech.
Yeah, no.
Although most of it is.
And I appreciate that because my friend Steve and I are having a blast doing it. So, and that's what podcasting is all about. Have fun. I mean, you want to do a podcast, anybody can do it.
Exactly. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Folks, more from Macstock in Chicago. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple Tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.